Hey there, if you're looking to reorganize your child's play space, this video is for you. We're about to go into a home and help this family reorganize their children's play space. It is definitely overwhelming because there's a lot of toys. And this is a great problem because there is a lot of good things that we can sort out and the other things we're just going to put away. But we'll get to that later. Stay tuned and watch the transformation. I'm Rena Etienne, a Montessori teacher, here to help you grow in your parenting and homeschool journey. So let's go. Decluttered. What we did is we separated the belongings that the children were not going to be using currently, put them away in the closet, and then what they are going to be using, we put it out in the space. So as the adult, what you can do is after setting up, feel the space out after a few days and then make a few adjustments here and there. But for the most part, at least there is a foundation to start with. The reason again is because we want to simplify the play space for the children so that they can feel invited and ready to learn and get creative. And if they have a cluttered space, it makes it really difficult to feel ready to play. So let me show you around so that you can get an idea of how to declutter and how to organize a space. Here we have the books, right? The bookshelf. So what I did is basically put all the books in one space. If we have, in this house, there is multiple ages of siblings here. So what you could do if you're in the same situation is separate the books. Put the board books for your toddler baby down at the bottom, and then the older kids, they can have their books up at the top. If you are homeschooling, you can have one little section for the homeschool books and things like that. But make the bookshelf make sense for you and also functional for the children so they can easily get to it and clean up after themselves. So what we did here is basically put away the belongings that the children are not going to be using. This is like a little rotation station, your secret stash, right? Not everything that your children own needs to be out. Why? Because one, it tends to be overwhelming, and two, the best part about keeping things stored away is that you can rotate them, and that keeps the children engaged and exciting. And again, we want the space to be simple so that our children can clean up after themselves and we don't feel stressed out. So this is a great way to help maintain the space and to keep it orderly. Like I said, if you don't necessarily have to get to all of it. This doesn't need to be pretty, right? This is what you're gonna get to later on, but at least everything that's out, your child can easily play with and put it away on their own. Next, what we did here was basically made a little dramatic play area. Now, every house is different with the kinds of dramatic play equipment that you have. Right now, this is a little kitchenette area. And so all of the belongings that the children are going to be using for the kitchenette area are inside of the little refrigerator and the stove, because luckily this set has storage inside of it. So this table is like an activity table, right? The children can use it to use during the dramatic play area. They can, play pretend cooking and setting the table and whatnot. But this table could also be used for arts and crafts. And this table can also be used for, again, your homeschooling, like handwriting and doing assignments and things like that. When you are setting up a little activity table, make sure that you do not have it on top of a carpet, because you are going to stress yourself out with the amount of the mess that is going to get on that carpet. You don't want to stress yourself out. Your children feel that, and you don't want them to feel like what they're doing is wrong. So try to really think about the space and how it's really going to work for you and for your children, and make it functional, practical, and make it make sense. And stress-free is the key. So what we did here is basically brought out the easel. Why? Because in this home, this is going to make the most sense. Depending on your home, if you are open to having the arts and crafts and things like that inside, great. If not, have them outdoors, but try to have it set out as much as possible. If you don't have space for an easel, totally okay. Just at least have the arts and crafts things organized in a closet or something, and when it's time to do an activity, you're not like fishing for the items. Everything is ready to go, and you whip it out, give it to your child, and you walk away and go make dinner. Next, we put out a sensory table, and so this is great for younger children. They need sensory. This is a part of their learning development, and so we have this out for the little ones in this sibling age group. And so with your sensory table, you can literally have out like a plastic bin that has a lid over it, and that way you can cover it at the end of the day, and you will be able to switch out what is inside the sensory bin. So for right now, there's dinosaurs with sand. Later on, you can switch it with water and sea animals, and like that. You want to keep the children engaged and interested, so you don't have to have all of it out at one time. Then a little hideout spot, because children love to hide and play house, so what better way to do it than outdoors? And at least they are able to have some room here to get those gross motor movements out as well, along with like the cars and the tricycles, whatever kind of gross motor equipment that you have out. Ideally, if you have an outdoor space, this is a great space to leave those items out. If not, if you have to have them indoors, it's fine, but just make sure that you make like a little corner for those gross motor movements, so they're not knocking things out and you're not getting stressed out about them doing what they're actually supposed to be doing. So again, you're thinking about functionality and what makes sense for the child and for you and the space. So what we did here is put the kids' artwork up. So children love to see their things out. You don't have to have all of their artwork that they have made, but at least a few things so that this space really feels like it's theirs. They can really appreciate their work, and you feel like in a way that you're honoring your child's creativity. We have obviously a couch here, and this is a great spot because this is kind of like the cozy area, right? You get to sit down and read a book with the kids, and kids get to relax and watch TV. Everything is all in one space. If you don't obviously have the space to do the same thing, just try to think about that same concept. You want to, in a play space, have like a cozy area. You can do that like a little cozy book nook where you have a soft space where like the pillows and a basket with books, whatever makes sense for you, but just kind of keep in mind that you want to have like this area for like the down times. And also when you have those challenging behavioral moments, it's such a great way to just kind of come here to a soft space and you get cozy up and really sit down and talk to your child and work through whatever challenging moment it is. So try to keep that in mind when you are creating your play space. And lastly, what we did here is basically a whole open shelf. So again, this shelf, this setup is for multiple age siblings. So what we did here is have out the most basic and accessible things that we have for the younger kids, so that way it'll be easier for them to not only see their options, but to clean up after themselves. If you see here, there's really nothing that has like lids on them, and everything has a place. There's not too much on the shelf, so that way when it's time for cleanup, your child can easily clean up after themselves. So no excuses, right? Everything has a place. All they have to do is just dump it back inside the bin and put it on the shelf. It can't get any easier than that. And then over here, what we did is put a few toys inside of the bins, right? And so most of these toys that we put inside the bin are for the older kids because they have quite a few things and they can, again, put their belongings away on their own, but at least the entire shelf does not look like, you know, disorganized, and in some way it looks cohesive and there looks like there's some kind of order. So that's the key. If you are going to have bins out, then make sure that either you can have it out for your older children, or if you need to have them out, you can have them out for like those big items, like really big blocks and like really big things. Just categorize it so you know that only this one thing goes inside there, so that when your child is cleaning up, they can be able to follow through with that rule and be a part of keeping the space orderly. Well, basically, that's how we decluttered the space. It took about 5 hours to do this all in one sitting, but we knocked it out. And if you are able to do that all in one sitting as well, try to do that. It is very difficult to start the process and then to walk away. So make sure that you are giving yourself a time frame to declutter, and then maybe if you like, you can break it up into another day where then you do the placement, where you put things where they belong. But when you are decluttering, try to at least get rid of the things out of this space so that way your child does not go in the bin and take things out and undoes everything that you have tried to do. And the last tip I want to share is that when you are doing this, ideally if you can, do this in a time when your child is not around, during nap, in a play date, I don't know, in a class, whatever that means for you, but it helps when you are able to kind of be in your thoughts and to think about like the functionality. And it's very difficult to do that when you have your child around nagging you for things and undoing everything that you're doing. I know decluttering could be so difficult, but it is actually the first step in order to create this beautiful space. So if you need help getting over that hump, I am happy to help. Send me a message, rena@alittlroomtogrow.com. You can check out my website, alittlroomtogrow.com, to see all the different services. If you have any specific need in mind, let me know, and let's try to connect and make magic happen for your little one. And remember, if you want to continue to get more insight from me, Rena Etienne, here at A Little Room to Grow, subscribe below. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.